Hi, I'm Mark Hancock, and I'm here at the Lorain County Metro Park Sandy Ridge Reservation, and I'm here to talk to you today about invasive species of plants and what we can do about them. First, I want to make it known that the Sandy Ridge Reservation does a really good job of controlling the invasive plants here, so it was difficult to find a lot of these examples here on the campus, but we were able to find a couple, and I have some cuttings, and then later we're going to move on throughout the park to kind of find some things and talk about them as we go. The first example I have here is the common reed of the Phragmites genus, and evidence exists that there are Phragmite species in North America prior to European settlement, but there are invasive strains from Europe that are dominating and taking over, and that's the problem. They came over in the late 1700s to early 1800s. They caused problems by monopolizing nutrients and habitat and rendering shorelines, wetlands, and riparian zones inaccessible to native plants and species. The control of the Phragmites species is best used by long-term perennial cutting and application of systemic grass-specific herbicides. The next species I want to talk to you about is commonly known as the autumn olive. This species is native to China, Japan, and Korea. And autumn olive was introduced to the U.S. in the 1830s due to its fast growth, abundant fruit and/or seed production, and the nitrogen-fixing roots that allow it to grow in poor soils. The autumn olive is detrimental as because of these features it outcompetes native plants, spreads rapidly, and some studies have even shown that it may actually be detrimental to native bird behavior. The control of this species is best used by mechanical in the early stages of its development or by herbicides with foliar application, cut stump application at any season, or by basal bark application in the winter or multiple controlled burns throughout the growing season. The last example I have for you on the tabletop is a teasel species of the Dipsacus genus. This species is native to Eurasia and northern Africa. Teasel is thought to have been introduced to North America as far back as the early 1700s for its role in producing wool or as a decorative plant. Teasels can produce prolific amounts of seeds and grow in densities that outcompete and push out native species. Best methods of control for the teasel are mechanical removal of the entire root system, or late spring burns, foliar application of herbicides at the rosette stage, either in early spring or late fall. Now let's get out in the field and find some more examples of invasive species. As we take a walk along the wetlands trail here, we found a bunch of examples of Queen Anne's lace, also known as wild carrot. Here we can see it both in the flowering stage as it matures, and then here again as it goes to seed. This species is naturalized to North America. It was brought over by European settlers as a medicinal herb and is now prevalent and reproductively stable across North America. This plant will invade open grasslands and prairies. It outcompetes native grasses and forbs, especially in recovering areas. Because of its quick growth compared to many native plants and prolific seed production, it often outcompetes native plants. Methods of control include pulling it up, including the entire root system, before it goes to flower and thus to seed, with foliar application of herbicides as a last resort. The wild carrot. Behind me and to the left is an example of wild buckthorn. This invasive plant was introduced to North America in the early part of the 19th century as a decorative plant and is now naturalized to Ohio and much of the United States. This plant is an issue because it outcompetes native plants by producing leaves earlier that stay out longer and is also associated with the invasive European earthworm epidemic. Control of the Ohio buckthorn is by herbicides to fresh cut stumps in late fall or early winter, so now in late October is a good time to start doing that. Mechanical control by pull and chop method or by burning in the early spring. Here you can see the fruit of the buckthorn, which is very indicative of this plant. The early non-mature fruits are red, and as they ripen they turn to a dark blue purplish color.